Hello, my friend. Thank you for spending a few moments with me today. Welcome from all of us at He is Risen Ministries. Your support by subscribing and giving a thumbs up helps us keep creating videos that inspire and equip those seeking a deeper walk with the Lord. Today we're going to talk about something Jesus once said that is both simple and incredibly powerful. It's called the lesson of the fig tree. Jesus spoke about it in Matthew chapter 24, verses 32 through 35, Mark chapter 13, verses 28 through 31, and Luke chapter 21, verses 29 through 33. Now, at first glance, it might sound like Jesus was simply giving a lesson about trees and seasons. But as with many things Jesus said, there was much more behind it. He used something ordinary or something everyone around him understood to teach a very important truth about paying attention to what God is doing in the world. Let's begin with what Jesus said. He told the people to learn a lesson from the fig tree. When its branches become tender and begin to put out leaves, you know that summer is near. In the same way, when you see certain things happening, you know that God's plan is moving forward. And then Jesus made a powerful statement. He said, "Heaven and earth will pass away, but His words will never pass away." Now imagine hearing that for the first time. The people listening to Jesus lived in an agricultural society. They didn't rely on weather apps. They didn't have television meteorologists. They watched nature very carefully. Their lives depended on it. Farmers knew the seasons by the signs around them. When certain flowers appeared, they knew planting season had arrived. When birds migrated, they knew winter was approaching, and the fig tree was one of the most recognizable seasonal signs in Israel. During winter, a fig tree looks lifeless. The branches are bare, no leaves, no fruit, just a quiet tree waiting. But when spring begins, something changes. Small buds appear, the branches soften, leaves begin to grow. And every farmer knew what that meant. Summer was coming. Harvest was getting closer. It was a natural signal, a visible reminder that the seasons were changing. So when Jesus pointed to the fig tree, everyone immediately understood his point. He was saying, just as you watch the trees to understand the seasons, you should also watch the world to understand the movement of God's plan. Jesus wasn't trying to scare people. He wasn't telling them to panic. He was teaching them to stay awake spiritually, to be aware, to notice the signs around them. Think about how we do this in everyday life today. If you walk outside and feel a cool breeze in September, and you see leaves beginning to turn colors, and you immediately know fall is coming, you don't need someone to explain it. You recognize the pattern. Or imagine standing in a grocery store in late November. Suddenly the shelves are filled with turkeys, pumpkin pies, and stuffing mixes. You don't need a calendar to know Thanksgiving is around the corner. The signs are everywhere. Jesus was saying the same thing about life and history. God's plan unfolds in ways that attentive hearts can recognize. The fig tree teaches us to pay attention, not to panic, but to notice. And this lesson matters just as much today as it did 2,000 years ago. Because we live in a very busy world. There is constant noise, news alerts, social media posts, endless opinions. Everyone is talking, but very few people pause long enough to listen for God's voice. Jesus was reminding his followers that spiritual awareness is important. If a farmer ignored the seasons, he would miss the harvest. If someone ignored the signs of a storm, they might get caught in dangerous weather. In the same way, if we ignore the movement of God in the world, we can miss the deeper meaning of what is happening around us. But here's something important. Jesus did not tell people to calculate dates. He didn't say try to figure out the exact day. Instead, he used the fig tree to teach something simpler. Stay awake, stay ready, stay aware of God. In other words, live each day as someone who knows that God's promises are real. Let me give you a modern example. Imagine someone who has planted a garden. They prepare the soil, they plant the seeds, they water the ground. For weeks it looks like nothing is happening, just dirt. But then one morning tiny green shoots appear. Those little sprouts tell the gardener something important. Life is growing beneath the surface. Something good is on the way. The gardener doesn't know the exact day the tomatoes will ripen, but they know the process is moving forward. That's what Jesus was saying about God's kingdom. God's plan is always moving forward, even when we can't see everything happening. And sometimes we forget that. Life can feel uncertain, the world can feel confusing, but Jesus reminded us of something solid. His words will never pass away. Think about that promise. Buildings crumble, empires rise and fall, technology changes every few years, but the words of Christ remain steady. They are the same yesterday, today, and forever. That's why the lesson of the fig tree brings comfort, not fear. It reminds us that history is not random. God is still guiding the story, and He invites us to live with faith, hope, and awareness. Let's talk about what this looks like in everyday life. Many people today spend their time worrying about tomorrow. They read headlines, they hear predictions, they wonder what the future will bring. But Jesus didn't tell us to live in fear of the future. He told us to live in readiness. Those are two very different things. Fear paralyzes us. Readiness strengthens us. Fear says everything is falling apart. Readiness says God is still in control. When we understand the lesson of the fig tree, we stop obsessing over dates and start focusing on faithfulness. We begin asking different questions. Instead of asking, when will everything happen? We start asking, how should I live today? That question changes everything. Maybe it means being kinder to someone who is struggling. Maybe it means forgiving someone who hurt us. Maybe it means spending a few more quiet minutes each day in prayer. Those small choices are how readiness looks in everyday life. Let me share another simple picture. Imagine you're expecting guests to visit your home. You don't know the exact minute they will arrive, but you know they're coming. So what do? You prepare. You tidy the house. You set things in order. You make sure everything is ready to welcome them. That's the spirit Jesus was encouraging. Live ready. Live aware. Live with your heart prepared, because the story God is writing is still unfolding, and every day is an opportunity to be part of it. The fig tree reminds us that seasons change. Winter never lasts forever. Spring eventually arrives. Life begins again. In the same way, God's promises are always moving toward fulfillment. Even when the world feels uncertain, even when things seem confusing, God's word stands firm. That's why Jesus said, heaven and earth may pass away, but His words will never pass away. Think about the power of that statement. The mountains we see today will one day disappear. The oceans themselves will change, but the words of Christ remain unshaken. That means every promise He made is trustworthy. Every assurance He gave is secure, and every invitation He offered still stands today. The lesson of the fig tree reminds us to stay awake spiritually, to keep our hearts open to God, to recognize that His kingdom is moving forward, even when we can't see every step of the journey. And perhaps the most beautiful part of this lesson is its simplicity. Jesus didn't choose something complicated. He chose a tree, a quiet tree, growing in the sunlight, a tree doing exactly what it was created to do, producing leaves in its season, signaling that life is continuing. In many ways, that's a picture of the Christian life. We don't have to force grand moments. We simply live faithfully in the season God has placed us in. We grow, we trust, we watch, we remain rooted in Him, and as we do, our lives begin to show signs of His presence. Patience grows, kindness grows, peace grows, just like leaves on a fig tree announcing that summer is near. And one day, the story God is writing will reach its beautiful completion. The promises will become sight. Faith will become reality, and we will fully understand the plan that has been unfolding all along. Until that day, the lesson of the fig tree remains simple and clear. Pay attention to God, trust His promises, live ready, live with hope, and remember that His words will never fade away. So as you go about your day today, take a moment to notice the quiet reminders around you, the rising sun, the changing seasons, the small moments of kindness you encounter. Each one whispers the same truth. God is still at work. His story is still moving forward, and you are part of that story. Got a question you'd like us to explore in a future video? Drop it in the comments below. We'd love to hear from you. For now, rest in the knowledge that the one who loved you first has already prepared a place for you in His eternal family, and may His voice ring clearly and powerfully this very day.